Today we're gonna see my top 10 completed fantasy series, and we will start with a trilogy that completely stole my heart since the first pages. Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This is an Asian-inspired story. Specifically, it's a feudal Japanese story, and we will be following different points of view in a mainly a quest of epic proportions. We will start with Yumeko. She is half human, half fox, so she is a kitsune, and she lives in the shrine. They take care of this sacred piece of a scroll, because if these different pieces of the scroll come together, then a mythical dragon may arise and it will grant one wish, whatever that wish is. It's very important to have this piece of scroll controlled. However, something happens in this temple that sets her on the flee and on this path of taking the sacred piece of a scroll to safety. And so along that way, she will be meeting a different characters. The main one is going to be Tatsumi. He is a shadow samurai, but he has a special power because in his sword a demon lives. He is not only an elite warrior, but also he has really the power of slaying all the demons.
Great!
Yumeko thinks,
this is fantastic, I will go with him, and he will take me to safety.
But Tatsumi has a little bit of a plan himself. There's a lot of sunshine versus grumpy trope here, and I really enjoyed the relationship between the two. I don't believe it's a romance itself. Like, this definitely is slow burn, and it's really sweet, but it's 100% not the focus of the story. It reads a little bit as a video game, so it's really fast, it's very plot driven. We'll have these different demons, these different monsters that are a little bit creepy, but at the same time, this story and Yumeko just warms your heart. We go now to the Winnowing Flame trilogy with the first book, The Ninth Reign. This is such a blend between fantasy, sci-fi, and a little bit of horror that won't leave you the same. We will be following these three different characters as they live in this land where every now and then there's this certain wars called reigns. The thing is that this last reign happened so long ago that right now no one really remembers who are the enemies that they fight against, nor how to defeat them, because the race that was in charge of really slaying these demons, it's kind of like dying. And we will start with this elven vampire character that belongs to this race of elvens that before were almost immortal because they were able to drink or to consume sage from this sacred tree that they had. They discovered that drinking blood was a good way also to keep themselves immortal, but surprise drinking blood has turned into a sickness and all of them are dying. Then we have our explorer, and from a novel that she really feels very compelled about what are these reigns. So she has run away from her life and she spends the majority of her time just discovering the woods, the forest. And then we will have a witch, and it's a little bit of an untamed power. One day the story of the three blends and they will start this quest moving forward, discovering different monsters and putting together the pieces of this puzzle. Book 1 was really character driven. Book 2 onwards, I think it's more of a blend. Caraval, a fantasy romance that really has a world building to die for. This world, it's so magical, so whimsical, that after reading it, you're like, why? I cannot live in this world. There's a sub magic system, it's very plot driven. This slow burn that happens throughout the different books was honestly my favorite. Follows the story of these two sisters that really live in misery. They really want to get away, and one day they receive this letter from this magical circus called Caraval. Caraval is this game circus kind of vibe that happens every now and then. It's something that moves through the different places. However, upon arriving, one of the sisters is kidnapped, and we will follow the story from the point of view of the other sister. If in 5 days' time she's not able to solve this game, her sister will die. All the different things that she needs to do in order to put the pieces together are really magical, but also pretty dangerous. And book 1, I think, is a perfect palate cleanser. Book 2 is a fairly good continuation from book 1, although the main story ends at book 1. And then book 3, it's a little bit more different, but also I really thought this series was fantastic. And now we go to my favorite duology of all time and a series that resparkled my love for books, and that is Strange the Dreamer. This is such a different story, and I reckon this is not for everyone because one, it's very character driven, it's pretty slow paced, the prose it's very descriptive, and because the topics and how the magic unfolds, it's pretty unique. But this is fantastic. We will follow Laszlo. He is a misfit and he whole of his life has believed in this magical mystical city called Weep. However, no one really believes that Weep exists. Something happened to this city long ago that made everyone forget their name, therefore Weep. So what is Laszlo's surprise when one day people from Weep come seeking help to help them figure out something, a mystery that it's unraveling in Weep. Upon arriving, we will meet the other point of view of this story, Sarai. She has a little bit of power and she lives with these people that also have powers. There's something in this book that makes you happy and sad at the same time, and I really love it with a burning passion. And now we go to a fantasy romance series that really marked me in the day. This is a type of books that once you start, you don't want to stop reading, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses. First book, it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, although books 2 and book 3 will really evolve from this notion and we will have more of a good versus evil kind of plot line. There's a lot of a chosen one trope in here. There's going to be a little bit of a love triangle, a slow burn, and overall I think it is really plot driven. It's a new adult series, so bear in mind that it will have spice and it will have kind of like people doing stuff on the sky kind of vibe, but this story will unfold in this medieval land where we have our girl Fairy, and she is part of this family of sisters that really live in poverty, and so she is the one that really is the hunter. So she one day trying to hunt kills a wolf, and what happens afterwards no one would expect. It seems that this wolf was in reality a fae, and because of her actions she is now taken and kidnapped to this fae world. So we will have a fantasy portal here and she will be delivered to the Supreme Court. And so there we will start this story where our main guy is this kind of like beast, and you know the story unfolds from there, where we will really meet these different courts, the spring one, the autumn one, the night ones, and all of those different courts and the type of magic that each of these fae that live in the courts have. I thought it was really unique, and also I wanted to keep reading, discovering. And we go to fantasy duology that it's a quest at its core and that has 6 incredible great characters that will steal your heart. 6 of Crows. This is a story set in the same Grishaverse as Shadow and Bone, but it's not at all the same story, and although Shadow and Bone has way more magic, in this world we'll see a little bit less. But what we will do is to follow these people that are part of this gang. Really, the main characters have settled themselves as one of the emerging gangs in this city, and you know, they are just seeking for enough money for settle themselves and to stop doing all of this different stuff. This is really a game of ambition. They hear that there's this artifact, this element that they can steal, they can sell, and then be rich, famous. These different characters will then start this quest to retrieve this element. But the magic of this series, it's the dynamics of these characters, because they're really unique, they're very complicated. We will see angst, we will see a little bit of romance, but it's never easy. It's not insta love, there's nothing given. You know these characters need to suffer to gain whatever they gain, and the consequences happen for them as well. And now we go to a recently concluded series that really made me cry and that really has marked me very deeply. The Aurelian Cycle, with the first book, Fireborn, talks about this land where previously they were ruled by these dragon lords, these people that has access to dragons and that were really mean. And one day there's this revolution and all of these dragon lords are killed. As a result of that, the society rebuilds again. It tries to right their wrongs. They create this almost republic in a Platonian way society, but they do still have different layers in their society, not based on your birthright but on merit. We will follow the story of 2 characters, One of them, Lee, is the son of one of the most powerful houses. And then we will also follow Annie, also orphaned. Her family was killed by these dragonlords. And the story will kick off with these tournaments that are about to happen to decide who is to be the leader of the fleet of dragons, because some dragons remained and both of them have access to them. But the story will be a little bit more complex yet, because there's also some whispers that not all the dragon lords were killed. This is going to be very character driven, but at the same time there are action scenes that are incredible, so definitely a thrilling blend between character and plot driven. It touches very deep topics as self-esteem, the aftermath of a revolution, and how the different characters will move forward through this story. It's honestly breathtaking. And now we go to a trilogy that really has one of the most unique magic systems that I've read in a while. It's a hard magic system, so there's going to be a lot of rules involved. Foundryside. There's this magical blend between heist, chosen one, family found banter. There's a blend almost of sci-fi. As I imagine this world, it's a little bit of a similarity to Arcane, the TV series. So we have this land that it's really divided in different layers. So we have the rich one, the houses, the ones that have power, and then we have the ones that do not. These rich houses have discovered and are using this very incredible magic that only them can use. It's treated almost as intellectual property, and it seems that they are able to inscribe into different objects, and then these objects are compelled to behave in a different way. And we will follow our girl Sancha. She has a little bit of magic herself, because she has the special power of being able to touch elements and then understand and see what these elements are feeling and thinking. And so this makes her the perfect thief, because she's like getting into a room like, where are the important things, and then she can know it. And one day she receives this task of stealing something, and when she does so, she will be chased down, because this artifact is able to change how we understand society forever. Is anyone surprised that Brandon Sanderson is here? No. Mistborn is still incredible. Hard magic system that is really unique, based on metals, and it's such a good blend between a character and a plot-driven story. We will have such depth with those characters. We will see them suffer so much. We will also see them hope. It's impossible to not have all the feels for them. This series, in my opinion, it starts in a way that it's very much as a heist, and third book, it's such an epic story that you won't be able to stop reading this series. And we will follow this world, Nalthis, where they live kind of like in the aftermath of what would happen if the bad one were to rule. We have this very mean creature called Lord Ruler that is really a tyrant, and in this land everyone is surrounded by ash, so it's really an enslaved society, and they do not have a lot of good things going on, from flying to being able to perceive and modulate the emotions to others. This elemency will happen if you ingest different metals. Normally people is only able to manage one of these metals, if any, right? This, it's really rare. But we will have one of our characters who is this leader of a band that really wants to steal something from the Lord Ruler, and he has the special ability to be able to master more than one metal. And along the way we will meet other characters. He will recruit other people, and then we'll see other character, this girl that is also a little bit special and that will start understanding her place, and she will play a very important role in all of this. There's a lot of a chosen one trope in here. There's a lot of banter, of family found vibes, but this was really emotional. It's a story that really has you preoccupied, because you never know what will happen next, and you are always in constant fear of what will happen with these characters that you really love. Then we go to a middle grade trilogy that really, it's what I would describe to be magic, right? Like from the beginning, the concept is so unique, and I really thought that was executed pretty nicely. And Inkheart will follow the story of this family that has a little bit of magic. They love books, and they have this special power because when reading, they are able to retrieve elements from the books or to send things also into those books. And the story will kick off with our girl Maggie realizing that she has this magic, because when she starts reading, elements from this book that she is reading, Inkheart, are coming into reality. And we soon know that her mom has been lost to one of these stories, and so she and her dad will do whatever it takes to, one, try to unravel the mess that they have created by bringing here characters from the book, and second, trying to find her mom. This is a blend of different elements. We will have this very magical world, but in essence this is going to be a great evil against great goodness, almost a cozy read, although again some scenes were slightly dark, but for me this is a story that just sparked joy. And if you want to see what were my favorite fantasy series of last year, I will link it down below in the description for you to check that out. Not necessarily finished, but definitely goodness.